Because if this is something that I want to get into, I need to know the people. And so tapping into that network has been huge for me, but overcoming the consistency thing and just really saying, okay, I'm starting with this one client and I'm going to build on this. I literally started with one client and built on that. And people just started coming. Like when you start sharing on social media, people started to see what I was doing and they needed help as well. But it's not the same as it was in 2020, though. I will say that. But I did get a very large influx of clients back then. So
welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast, the podcast for women building their dreams while balancing work, family, and all the things. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, a wife, mom, marketer, and your side hustling friend here to teach you how to grow a brand that works for you and not the other way around. Whether you're a side hustling pro or just starting out, this is your safe place for real talk, actionable strategies, and the encouragement you need to keep going. We're here to help you make progress and not perfection. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's build your dream one step at a time. Hello, and welcome back to the Side Hustler Podcast. I'm your host, Carla LeBlanc, and I'm so excited to have you here today because if you ever wondered how to go from fired to fully booked, then guess what? This episode is going to be for you. So today I am chatting with a new friend of mine, Michelle Thames, a marketing strategist, business coach, and multi-passionate entrepreneur who helps women build visibility, attract clients, and monetize their expertise. After getting unexpectedly fired from her 9-to-5 in healthcare, Michelle turned her side hustle into a six-figure business and has never looked back. And today we are going to be talking about how she built visibility without burning out, why networking should be a part of your marketing plan, and how to choose the right offer when you're multi-passionate and don't know where to start. Now, Michelle is also dropping game on how to stay in your lane when comparison creeps in and why obedience is a non-negotiable for doing what you are called to do. So this episode is part strategy, it's part faith, and it's definitely a whole masterclass. So make sure that you grab your notebook or whatever you use to take your notes because we are about to dive in. Before we dive into today's episode, I have something special for all of my side hustlers out there. Are you building a business while working a 9-to-5 and you're tired of wasting time on marketing strategies that don't actually move the needle? Then you're going to want to get plugged into my weekly newsletter. Every single week, I'm giving you the real behind the scenes scoop on what's actually working in marketing and business. No fluff, no gatekeeping, just real strategies, insights I'm testing in my own business, and practical tips that you can apply right away. If you want to work smarter and not harder and finally start seeing momentum, then head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/newsletter and get locked in. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. All right. Well, hello, Michelle, and welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm just super excited. I love podcasting and I love talking to people about what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes. So me and Michelle actually connected on Threads a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about doing different things with marketing on her platform. And so I have really been trying to utilize Thread as a networking tool. And once I connected with Michelle, then I started like following you on Instagram. And I was also watching one of the lives that you were talking about as far as like networking and how to really utilize networking and how we really need to make sure that when we are, trying to increase our visibility and doing things of that sort, we really need to make sure that we're putting ourselves out there. And so I was like, girl, let's hop on a podcast. Let's do all the things. And so I'm super excited because when we had our coffee chat, there were so many other different things that we had found that were aligned. And so I'm excited for today's episode because we're going to be talking about how you transition from your 9-to-5 to building your six-figure business. We're going to talk about how you leverage networking and how you build your visibility online. So I'm super excited. So before we dive deep, I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself and talk about your journey of working your 9-to-5 to your journey of becoming an entrepreneur.
Yes, no, I'm super excited for this convo. So, for me, unexpectedly in 2016, I was fired from my healthcare job. So, I have a background in healthcare administration. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree, and I was working at a very prominent hospital in Chicago, Cook County. So, it was a government job. I was really, really excited to, finally get into that healthcare administration management space. But unfortunately and fortunately for me, I was fired from my job back in 2016, which really pushed me into focus more on my side hustle. So at the time, I was a natural hair influencer and content creator. I started doing twist outs, on YouTube and social media. And I had no idea that even at that time that it would turn into what it turned into. When I was fired, it was a really low blow because I've never been fired from a job before. I'm very someone who it shows up, we're on time, we're doing the work. I definitely, listen to my parents, go to school, get a job. You're always going to have a job in healthcare. It's going to be great. But something pushed me to start my side hustle. And I just believe that that was God, because I don't feel like if I didn't have that to fall back on when I was let go from my job, it could have ended very different for me. I remember the conversation I had with my husband that day. He was like, "You have one day to like be sad. Like, be sad right now, sis. But this is what I need. Like, we need to figure this out." And so I was like, "You know what? You're right. Let me just be sad this one day, but really the next day figure out how can I leverage my skills and what I'm already doing to build." And so I
Mm-hmm.
had contacts that I knew at naturallycurly.com. I reached out to them and said, "You know what? Are you looking for freelance writers?" Landed a freelance writing gig.
Love
And then,
that.
I just put myself out there and went to events. One event that I went to, it was the Black Women's Expo. I remember. I know they do this in Chicago, and I believe they still do it in Atlanta. And I met this woman, but I had already met her before. We had already, talked about how we would collab, but I went up to her booth and she was like, "Oh, Michelle, I'm so glad that, you came and talked to me because I'm looking for somebody to run our social media. I can't do it anymore. Can you come
Mm.
to the office next week? And let's talk about it." And so I went to the office next week and ended up landing a job. And that job was with Mielle Organics. I'm pretty sure a lot of people listening may have heard of the brand, but if not, it is a well-known beauty and hair care brand. I work with them in the very, very startup phase to really build the foundation of their social media and digital marketing. And that, really helped and paved the way for me to launch my own digital marketing agency with the skills and experience that I had and
Mm-hmm.
learned there. So I'm really grateful for that experience. And that's how I started my business. And then when I left there, I mean, it was just really God led. One day he was like, "This is it for you." And I was like, "Really? Like today?" He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Yes. Like there's no more that you can go forward. I need you to come up with a plan, give them your 2 weeks." And I was like,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
"Give them your 2 weeks." And, I stepped out on faith and really decided to build with my husband something that, we both love social media
Yeah.
and we both love this. And I was like, why do we have to sit in, my husband was an educator at the time. Why does he have to sit in a job that he doesn't like? So
Yeah.
that's really what helped pave the way to me even starting my own business.
Yeah, I love that. And I really love how you have a different perspective because obviously, with me still currently working my full time job, a lot of people that I talk to, they're like, "Oh, work your job until, you have a substantial amount saved up and do this and do that." But the thing is that when you decided or when you were pushed into entrepreneurship, like that wasn't the plan. You didn't expect to get fired from your job. And so, I want to talk about some of the biggest challenges that you faced when you first hopped out there because, whenever life turns the table on us and we, have a plan and then it doesn't go as planned and we're like, out in the wilderness, like, how did you navigate that space of being like a freshly new entrepreneur after being fired?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges was finding the right clients,
Mm-hmm.
but me and my husband decided we would start out with just strictly doing social media management. At that time, back in 2020, there was a lot of people who strictly needed somebody to manage their Instagram, manage their
Yeah.
Facebook. So I really hit the ground running and went to a lot of people that I knew that were starting brands. So I tapped
Yeah.
into my networking bag and people that I knew. And so, but I think one of the biggest challenges was, being super consistent, really thinking about who I wanted to serve in this particular area of our digital marketing agency. And so really establishing that clear brand message to say, like, this is who our agency helps and this is what we want to do. But I think it all paid off because I know we're going to talk more about this, but networking, like my network has really sustained me. And I'm so grateful to God because even back when I was a natural hair content creator and influencer, what really helped me to really tap into the industry was attending industry events. I remember the first event I attended was in Dallas. It was called Natural Hair All-Star Weekend or something like that. And it was in 2013. And so I flew from Chicago. Now I'm from Chicago now. I didn't know nobody in Dallas. I knew one girl and actually reached out to her and was like, "Oh my God, can I sleep on your couch?" No lie. Like the girl had cats and everything. Now I ain't really a cat person, but I took one for the team and I stayed with this girl in her cats, okay? All while being pregnant and not even knowing that I was pregnant with my daughter. And so I flew
Wow.
to Dallas. I went to this event. I connected with everybody I need to connect with. People from Cream of Nature, like the decision makers, because I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna plant these seeds now because if
Yeah.
this is something that I want to get into, I need to know the people. And so
Mhm.
tapping into that network has been huge for me, but overcoming the consistency thing and just really saying, okay, I'm starting with this one client and I'm going to build on this. I literally started with one client and built on that. And
Mm.
people just started coming. Like when you start sharing on social media, people start to see what I was doing and they needed help as well. But it's not the same as it was in 2020, though. I
Yeah.
will say that. But I did get a very large influx of clients back then. So
Have you ever found yourself stuck on what to post or struggling to stay consistent on social media? I've been there, and that's exactly why I created this free guide called 30 Days of Done For You Social Media Prompts for Personal Brands. This guide is loaded with prompts to get your gears turning so you can have a gallery of content to create for your brand and never stress about what to post again. And you can grab it right now at cdcreativecoagency.com/content and start creating content that connects without the stress. No, I love that because I think when people automatically think about starting a business, they automatically jump to, I got to be online, I got to be on social media. But it's like, yes, but also tap into your network, get outside, like go meet people, go put a face to people, shake people's hands, really interact with them in person because anybody can send a DM, in someone's inbox. But when you really are intentional about getting in front of the faces of the people or the decision makers, then that could definitely be transformational in your business and in your entrepreneurship journey. So I absolutely love that. Now, I know we were talking about networking, and I know that you utilize networking as a visibility tool. And so there's a lot of people that are, unclear about like visibility and marketing. People think visibility and marketing are the same thing. And I tell people all the time, like, they're not the same thing. They do go hand in hand. And so I want to talk about like visibility as an entrepreneur and what are some ways when at the beginning that you utilize to be able to increase your visibility online and within your city.
oh, this is a good one. Okay. Visibility is tough because I know a lot of us are side hustles. So we're doing
Hmm.
multiple things. You're like, oh my God, I need to be here. You got different responsibilities. I get it. When I started this, I was a side hustler. Let me tell you, I'm not the person to tell you to quit your job either. So I don't subscribe to that culture. I was just pushed, okay, and really had to figure it out. So here's what I say with visibility. I mean, when I first started, I made sure that I was on every platform. That may sound exhausting, but I started just with the presence there. I wouldn't say I was focused very heavily on each platform. I started on YouTube and had a blog. Those were my main two platforms back in
Yeah.
2009. I'm going to date myself because I used to use Blogger. So anybody listening, you are OG. We used to have Google Blogger, okay, and that's what I started with. And then I switched to WordPress. I still have that blog out there. It's called Happily Ever Natural. If you want to check it out, had those two things, and I really focus heavily in on YouTube and my blog. Those are my
Hmm.
two visibility tools. You want to prioritize like the tasks and the things that you're doing, posting content
Yeah.
consistently. I posted a video every week when I was doing natural hair. I was twisting and I had brand deals and all the things. So making sure that you're consistent with the platform that you are going to stick to, because regular social media, just engagement and people seeing you, it's going to help you increase that visibility. Now, you don't have to, like I said, start out with 7 platforms, 2 platforms, really figure out who
Yeah.
you want to help and who that person is and talk directly to them through your content. But visibility doesn't really mean showing up everywhere. You can be everywhere without being everywhere. I like to
Hmm.
say and teach my clients really having a strategic plan. One of my visibility promises to myself this year is showing up on podcasts and showing up on
Mm.
other people's podcasts and increasing my podcast as well. So
Yeah.
really think about where your audience is, your potential clients, and the best way for you, because it looks different for everybody. You can't follow my
Mhm.
blueprint.
Yeah.
You can't follow Carlisa's blueprint. You have to
Mhm.
follow your own blueprint. And
Mhm.
that may be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or just one place. So I really think that that way of thinking about visibility just helps keeps the stress low.
Yeah, yeah. And I was the next question I was going to ask you was about, common mistakes. So, but you kind of hit on both of those because, yeah, whenever you're first starting out, especially now, I feel like everyone's pressured to be everywhere. Like, I got to be on YouTube, I got to be on TikTok, I got to be on Instagram, got to be on LinkedIn, I got to do this, I got to do that. And it's like you're spreading yourself thin before you even get started, you know? And so I completely agree with you. Even within myself, I found myself falling into that trap even as a marketer because I'm like, if I'm a marketer, like I got to be everywhere because people are going to want to know, if I can do this, if I can do that, if I can do that. But then the more that I got solid in my brand message, who I'm serving, you tend to find that the people that you're trying to serve are all like the same. Like if I wanted to serve a specific demographic, like my target audience are typically, women that are within 35, 45, women entrepreneurs. And so most of them, if not like 85% of them are on Instagram. Like they're not really spending, if they are on TikTok, they're not using it as a tool to market their business. They're just doing doom scrolling over there. But it really boils down to you really being able to identify who you're serving and not trying to serve multiple people. Because when you serve multiple people, you get, confused with your brand message. You get confused on your channels. You get confused on, where you need to really be placing yourself as far as like events and things. And so I think when you hone in on really identifying who you want to serve, really trying to figure out where they spend most of their time, and really positioning yourself to be there all the time and be on the forefront of their head whenever they're thinking about whatever it is that you do, then that's really going to be a good strategy on how you can increase your visibility as an entrepreneur.
Yes. Look, this is a master class. I hope they're taking notes.
No, I absolutely love when I have other marketers on the podcast because I feel like you get what I'm saying and we speak each other's lingo. So it's just a vibe.
It's a vibe.
So I want to talk about how we can monetize multiple passions because I know typically when you are starting out, when you're trying to figure out, okay, like I want to start a side hustle, I know that I'm good at all of these things. Like how do you identify where you should start and where you should start to create offers to start selling to people? And then, because like you were saying before, you started in social media management because you saw that there was a need. And then you also saw that, you're passionate in social media. So I want to talk about how you decided to, or how someone can decide to choose the right place to land when it comes to their passions and to actually create a business model for it.
Oh, this is such a good question. I think the key is to really identify like the intersection where your passions meet the customer
Mm.
needs. And then I
Mm-hmm.
think from there is developing a business model that really aligns with your skills and the market demand, right? I
Yeah.
knew that I had these project management skills. I knew how to manage projects. I know marketing. I know
Mm-hmm.
social media management. So, and it is and still is very high market demand
Yeah.
for social media and marketing people. Okay. So what are you really good at? And what are you most passionate about? For me, it fuels me so much every day to wake up and think of how I can build more community and bring more women together who are out here building their dream businesses, right? So that fuels me, that lights me up. So therefore, I take what I really love to do. I know what my skills are. I can do events. I've done event. I put my own reception together. Okay. I did my own reception,
Wow.
y'all, right? I didn't have no event planner. So I know how to do that. So think about what you really love, your
Mm-hmm.
skills, what you're really good at. Package that up. It could be coaching, digital products, direct services, speaking. You can cater to the diverse needs while still staying true to who you really are. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I do. Everything I do coaching, I do consulting, I do speaking, right? It's all something that I really love to do and that I'm passionate about. And I package that up into,
Mm-hmm.
services. So that is
Yeah.
definitely how I would think about number one, thinking about how to monetize what you love to do in your skills.
Yeah, I love that. I do have a question, a follow up question, because and this is kind of off of the grid, or off of the, what is it? What do they say? I don't know what it's called, but you know what I'm saying. So I want to talk about how you focus in on you in your business, because this is something that I feel a lot of people struggle with. Imposter syndrome. There's 1,000 people, like you said from the beginning. There's so many people that are out here that are positioning themselves as marketers, digital marketing agencies, content creation agencies, all of these different people everywhere. And it can be so hard for you to actually, like, just focus on who you serve and the people that are within your network or within your city. So I want to ask you, how do you focus and make sure that you pay attention to your own grasp without trying to focus to all the noise of what everyone else is doing that is within your industry?
Oh, this is a good question because social media can have you just out here looking at everybody else's stuff. To be honest with you, God gave me the vision on what I'm supposed to do, and I have blinders on. While I see what everybody else is doing, I cannot be concerned with what everybody else is doing because I am on a mission and I feel like I have this. I don't, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, God has placed this on me and I have to see this through.
Mm-hmm.
And really what it requires me to do is a lot of times shut out what other people are doing. Like
Yeah.
I love to scroll and support, but I am very much so focused on what I'm supposed to be doing. You
Yeah.
can get so caught up in what everybody else is posting online. But one thing I want to tell you, and listen up, open up your ears. A lot of people are lying. They're not who they say they are online. So don't even believe them. Don't even believe
Mm-hmm.
them. If it doesn't really feel authentic, wouldn't you rather want to turn on your social media and scroll and connect with somebody who's actually authentic that you can
Mm-hmm.
relate to? So that's how I try to show up as my best self. God has told me, forget what everybody else is doing, Michelle. Show up as you. You're authentic. I am doing this, like, it's so heart led. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot be concerned about what everybody else is doing. If you want to have an event, great. If I'm having an event, great. I'm not here to compete with anybody. I know we say collaboration over competition. People don't like that word, but I
Mm-hmm.
really believe that you have your own people. And when you show up in that expert authority that only you can show up in.
Yeah.
Nobody can be Michelle Thames. I'm the brand. I am the brand. I am the vibe. You can't take my vibes. And
Yeah.
so when I show up in that, it's powerful. And when you show up in who you really are, it's powerful. Nobody can steal that. Nobody can
Mm-hmm.
steal anything from you. And I
Mm-hmm.
have that at the forefront of everything I do every single day. Matthew 6:33 is my favorite verse. And if we gonna go there, we going there, right? Because he told me to seek him every day and
Mm-hmm.
everything else will fall into place. So
Yeah.
you cannot be concerned about what everybody else is doing. When you cloud your judgment and you cloud your mind with what they're doing, you will go crazy.
Yeah.
So don't believe nobody. And I hope
Mm-hmm.
that, I know I kind of went preachy, but look, I don't know, you just brought that out of me and I felt
No.
so compelled to say that, but stop listening and stop watching what other people are doing. Do what you were meant to do, because when you do, people see that and they can see how effortless it is for you. Yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
effortless for me to do this because guess what? It's God led. That's why.
Y'all already know I'm all about working smarter and not harder, especially when it comes to marketing your brand. And if you're still relying only on social media to reach your audience, we need to fix that immediately. Social media is cute, but let's be real. The algorithm is unpredictable and your content is probably only reaching a small percentage of your followers. That's why I swear by email marketing, because when I send an email, I know 100% of my subscribers are getting my messages. And the best part, Flowdesk makes it ridiculously easy. You can send beautiful on-brand emails, automate your sequences, and even create landing pages without needing to be tech savvy. And because you're listening, I got you a deal. Use my code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout and you'll get 50% off your Flowdesk subscription for the next 12 months. So if you're ready to stop relying on algorithms and start building a email list that actually converts, try Flowdesk for free. And don't forget to use the code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout for that exclusive 50% off. Yes, I love that. That is so good. That is so, so rich. Because I think about my journey whenever I first started. being online, it's so interesting because I was following all the Jackie Inas, Makeup Shayla, Jalissa, all the people. And I was like, oh, I have to go buy these outfits and I got to go be outside and take pictures and do all this. And it was so forced. It was so forced. And I think about it now, like going back and looking at it now, I laugh about it because that was literally me trying to, feel into somebody else's, shoes and footprints. Because I had a little bit of brand partnerships, but it was never like organically aligned. And like now, when I tell you, God just like downloads ideas, He allows me to connect with people. It comes off so organic. Like people are like, oh, it looks like you've been doing this forever. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, like none at all. But you can definitely feel the difference for when you are like forcing something that's not for you, and when you are literally organically ordained to do something and called to do something. Because like I said, I don't have any backstory, big bachelor degree or anything in marketing at all whatsoever. I have a biochemistry degree, okay? Like, and so the fact that, I was able to pick up a passion and really like study it. I've always been into school and studying and things of that sort. So really finding my passion, starting to study the craft, study how to do things, study and understand how things work within this industry. It has allowed me to be ordained and called to be a marketer. And I know a lot of people think that, when you think about being called, we think about pastors and preachers and ministers, but many people are called to be jewelry designers. People are called to be fashion designers. People are called to do all kinds of things that may not fit the mold of ministry. But if you are called to do whatever it is that God calls you to do, whether that's cutting the grass, washing the cars, somebody needs that, And if that's what you're called to do, step in it, Be the best grass cutter, be the best car washer, be the best whatever it is that God called you to do. And so I love that you mentioned that, because I feel like a lot of people are struggling, like, oh, so and so is doing the same thing that I'm doing, but nobody can do it the way that you do it. Nobody can do it the way you do it. So I love that. Thanks for that.
No, and you're absolutely right. Like nobody can do it like we can do it. And yes, there's 55 people who are marketers, but you said something. The mission like that God has called you to do, like nobody, you, it is a ministry. Even though this is, I'm helping other women build their online businesses in that dream way, that is a ministry. I
Yeah.
am called to do that. I'm called to build community, to bring people together. Even if I never connect with the people ever again, I was called to bring together those people. I am just a natural
Hmm.
connector. So take that in. Those are your skills that God
Yeah.
has gifted you with, and He didn't say that you couldn't make money from them.
Because a lot of people think that because you do ministry that we're not supposed to be wealthy from our gifts, which is kind of crazy. Because I'm like, you know, God gave us the tools, the talents, and the gifts to be able to make wealth. And that's why the whole point of me even starting my podcast, like we shouldn't just rely on our 9 to 5s. Like that's a dangerous place. God literally tells us not to focus and work and store up our treasure in one bucket, in one idea. Like He tells us to plant these seeds. You get apples, you get fruit, you get, seeds from other fruit. You take that seed and go plant it somewhere else. Then when that fruit bears fruit, you go plant that seed somewhere else. So I'm so strongly about, the fact that people don't really, and maybe that's probably why a lot of people aren't really tapping into what they do, because they don't see it as a ministry. But when you're called and God is telling you to do something, you're responsible for the people that you're assigned to. And when you don't, this is going off the tangent, okay? When you don't obey God and serve the people that you're called to serve, you are being disobedient with your gift and your talent. And He can take it away at any time. And I know that this has nothing to do with marketing, but I'm just saying, like, if you know that you have a passion or a purpose and you are choosing not to operate in your passion or your purpose because so and so is doing this, or you see someone doing something better, you are being disobedient. And I want you to be obedient. So that's just that. I love that. So I want to go back and talk about you and networking, because I feel like that is something that a lot of people don't really know how to excel in. And even myself, like I find myself, even though I'm an extrovert, like it's completely different networking when you're putting yourself in a room that you're not familiar with, like you were saying, you went to the expo and you started to meet with, the decision makers in the industry. what gave you the confidence to, even be able to go up to people? And like, how did you even like approach that type of conversation? Like, what do you even say to these kind of people? And how do you connect with them so that way you can, add them to your Rolodex of connections?
Oh, girl, this is such a good question. And you know what? My whole thing is, well, if I don't ask or go up and talk to these people, they're not even gonna know who I am or what I do and how am I gonna ever build. And so I just go up to people. I have a exact example for you just this week. Okay, so this week me and my husband were invited to some events. I was invited to an event by Riverside. You using Riverside?
Mm-hmm.
We're using Riverside now,
Saw
right
that.
now. Shout
Yep.
out to Riverside, okay? They invited me to a networking mixer with podcasters. I have built a relationship with Riverside. They have sponsored my events. I have built a connection with the people who work there. So I went in with a plan. Never go into networking without a plan. And even if you
Mm.
need ChatGPT to help you, because baby, I used ChatGPT to give me a whole rundown on what I needed to do and even the reel that I was going to create from the content that I was going to get from the event. I made sure I talked
Yes.
to the decision makers, the people who work at Riverside, so that I made sure that I connected with them because they did not have to invite me to that event. And so I
Yeah.
did want to show my gratitude. I also made sure to connect with almost everybody there. Me and my husband, we do this together. So we actually divided and conquered. He's over there telling everybody about my podcast, everything that they need to know. And then I made sure I got everybody's names, everybody's Instagram so that I
Mm-hmm.
could go back and follow them. But not only follow them, say, hey, do you want to do a coffee chat? Now that's up to them if they want to do it or not, but I'm definitely going to give you the link and open it up. Let's continue the conversation because
Yeah.
I'm really here to network and build. I'm not here just to go to this event just for meaningless relationships.
Yeah.
It matters. I went in there, I asked God, the right conversations will come to me.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna put me in the right spaces. Then I was invited to an event by Kit, which is formerly Convert Kit. They are email
Mm-hmm.
provider. The founder was going to be there. They said that in the email. I was like, oh, Michelle, you're definitely gonna have to go to this. And decision makers, of course, right? I thanked him. I got to even sit down and chat with him inside of one of the podcast studios. They recently opened up a studio here in Chicago for everyone who owns or has a Convert Kit subscription, y'all. If you live in Chicago, listen up. You get to use the studio for free. And it
Oh
is a
wow.
high tech podcast and recording studio that you can sign up for. So no longer you have to pay to go to a peer space or do it at your house or whatever. You can get the
Yeah.
vibes. And so that to me is a company that's building something that's creator first and focused. And
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I'm intentional with the brands that I partner with. You do not hear me talking about 75 different brands. I've used
Mm-hmm.
Riverside since the beginning. I've used ConvertKit since 2019. So it's important for me to go into that event and have a real plan. And
Yeah.
ask chat to give you a follow-up letter. I can
Yeah.
the woman who does events, she told me to connect with her on LinkedIn. I connected with her on LinkedIn. It's as simple as that. Keep the conversation going. And I would want to keep that open for future connections. So if you
Yeah.
don't feel confident, I'm here to tell you you have a gift and you need to ask God to equip you with the confidence. I've done that. Sometimes I don't feel confident, but once I do it and once I go through with it and I see the excitement on people's faces when I tell them about my mission, it reminds me that I'm doing the right thing. So
Yeah.
I approach that.
That's so good. That is so rich.
Okay, real quick. If you've been showing up on socials and still not getting the results you want, I want you to listen up because I'm offering free social media audits exclusively for my side hustler listeners. If you're not sure if your page is actually attracting the right clients or if your content feels all over the place, or you just want to make sure that you're on the right track when it comes to building your brand, I got you. These audits are where I go in and I look at your page and I give you the personalized feedback on what's working, what needs to shift, and how to start creating content that actually converts. I'll also drop a few tips and strategies that most people aren't sharing because I want to see you win. And the best part about it, it's free, my friend. So head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/audit and secure your audit today.
Because I think that even when people typically attend networking events, they're just like, oh, I'm just going to connect. But I love how you said that you go in with a goal. Like you don't just go in. The goal isn't to just go, make meaningless connections. It's like, how can we get in front of the people that we need to get in front of, and what are we going to say? Like go in there with your plan. Have ChatGPT help you out to come up with something. And I really love how you use. At this point, we really have no excuse to not be able to utilize utilize the resources we have. Like ChatGPT does it all, honey.
It
It
does it
really
all.
does.
It gave me the letter. It gave me the story strategy for the day. I told it
Yeah.
what I was doing. Like, that's a whole nother conversation we got to have on
Yeah.
AI because
Yeah.
we're
No,
missing out.
AI is top tier, but it's like we have resources that, our ancestors and people that paved the way before us, they didn't have. And so it's like now we have no excuse to even say that we don't know how to do something because we can literally get it in a fraction of the second. So I love that. I really do think that that's amazing. And I also like the fact that y'all have this studio out in Chicago. I'm low key kind of jealous, but that's neither here
Yeah,
nor
they have
there.
one. They have one in They're building one in New York and one in Boise, Idaho, which is where the company is based.
Wow, that's amazing. So I want to get into some of your top marketing and branding strategies for side hustlers that they can focus on when they are first starting out. So let's say, what are your top 3 marketing and branding strategies or tips that they should focus on when they first start?
Top 3. Niche down and know who you're talking to. When I just say I even niched more down this week, I changed my LinkedIn profile, my Instagram. It's really focused on I help multi-passionate women entrepreneurs to get visible, attract more clients, and be paid as the expert that you are. That is it. Okay. Yes, that includes companies and corporations too, but you really want to just narrow it down. Okay. Because I want to talk to multi passionate women entrepreneurs, the people out here who are action takers. So
Yeah.
make your messaging say that. That's number 1. Be super strategic. Number 2 is really be consistent. You do have to show up. Okay. Pick those platforms, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, but make a plan to show up for the next 90 days because then you're going to look at your analytics and see was it really worth it. Because what I don't want you to do is just be showing up everywhere and it's not fruitful for you and it's not
Yeah.
sustainable. So we have to think about sustainability as well. So that's what I like to focus on, number 2. And number 3 is, I know we were talking about, just not feeling confident, but just exude that confidence because you already are a expert. You go to this 9 to 5 job every day and do the same thing for these people that you could probably be doing for yourself, making 10 times more, right? And so I'm not the person that tell you to quit, but I'm just telling you to think about that. Okay. Think about the time, effort, and passion that you are putting into someone else's dream when you can be putting that same thing into your dreams and goals.
Yeah, that is rich. I love that. Love that. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. This is amazing. I had such a joy talking with you. But before you go, I wanted to give you a chance to share with our listeners where they can connect with you and where they can access and learn more about your services and all of the things that you have upcoming in the future.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing, amazing. So you can connect with me on Instagram at Michelle L. Thames. I'm on there all the time. Everywhere else, Michelle Thames. LinkedIn, Michelle Thames. I'm on Facebook too. Come follow my Facebook, Michelle Thames, as well. I'm also on YouTube. Michelle Thames is the channel. So look, and that's another thing. If you're building a personal brand, make it succinct and that everyone can find you everywhere. So you can find me everywhere. You can Google me too. Okay. You can Google Michelle Thames and everything gonna pop up. Even my podcast, Social Media Decoded, that my friend is going to be on because we're doing podcast swaps. So stay tuned for that as well. And I have a free 7-day visibility challenge. It's an audio challenge. Okay. So you don't even have to look at no slides. I'm going to give you the tea in 5 to 10 minutes for 7 days to help you build your visibility online. This is 100% free. And you can find this at the link in my Instagram bio. It's going to point you right to where you need to go. Okay. So sign up for that challenge if you want to learn more about getting visible, but being sustainable. Okay. I promise you, it will not stress you out.
Yeah, I love that. Listen, Michelle is a whole wealth of knowledge. Like she be on Threads dropping gems, honey. So if you are on Threads, make sure you connect with Michelle. Be like, girl, I heard from you on the podcast. Let her know. Slide through. She gonna talk back to you too. So yeah, this was amazing. Thank you so much again, my friend. It was such an honor connecting with you and having you on the episode today.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Side Hustler Podcast. I hope you're leaving here today feeling inspired and ready to take your next step. If you love this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another side hustler who needs to hear it. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Carly Dorlin.
I'd love to hear about your side hustling journey. Remember, you're doing better than you think, and your dreams are so worth it. Until next time, keep hustling, sis. You got this.